Let me check if this works. I think I have quite a lot of time until the first people will arrive, so no need to rush, I guess. Yeah. So what will happen here in a minute is that I do a walkthrough through one of my current projects. So yeah, I can't really say what kind of a project it is. I mean, it's like a pretty classic one. Let me double check. It has been such a long time since I used Twitch. I think a year or so. but anyway. Here I just had opened up the tutorial how to set up OBS because I had no idea. But what we will do, we will look into, let me get rid of this one, into the Cubase project I talked about. This one. What we'll do first in, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes or so, go through the track, the whole project. That's how it looks like. And yeah, go through all the tracks of all the parts, especially with a focus on the automations you can spot over here, over there, and stuff like that, because as you can see, I used them a lot. Let me see if I can somehow, yeah, there you go, nice. Can I minimize this? Yeah, that's perfect. That's not what I wanted. All right, it seems to work. That's good to know. I don't know. I just start the track for now. Just double check if the audio works and stuff like that. That would be nice to know. And that way we can also, I don't know, make sure that you know what track I'm actually talking about. I love these full stops at the end. Huge fan of that one. And yeah, I don't know. I think I simply begin because I don't know if some people miss something. A lot of people wrote me anyway that they aren't available because, of course, right now in Germany it's the best time to sit inside the studio because it's 8 p.m. over here. But on Instagram there aren't that many people who actually, yeah, I don't know, who actually live in Germany. So wow, who cares? Let's talk about the track. And Berlin, nice to meet you. That's better. So you have a good time too. I don't know, I guess that in Berlin the weather is as gray as it is over here. It just sucks, but I know I have a good time playing Baldur's Gate 3 all the time. And yeah, let's get into the track. It starts with one intro sound. It's one created with Gravity 2, super simple, one button press, and there you go. It's frozen right now because when I began working with Gravity 2, I had huge performance issues. In general, as you can see, I can run a lot of tracks without stuff happening. But if we combine both tracks, it's a simple rise that leads to... And I also didn't cut away the tail or something like that. It gets more interesting as soon as we get into this first part where this intro melody, I don't know, is created. So the most obvious thing is the combination of this bell plus, I guess, let me check this. The combination of this one plus this one. Because what I did here, this, greetings to Croatia. I've been there not too long time ago. I think mid this year or something like that. But yeah, the lead bell is a slightly adapted preset from Omnisphere. I browsed through the presets based on this bell sound I had in mind, adapted it a little bit. I think I only, adapted the attack and decay rate of the A and B synth. So mainly I took the attack time to 0 of this Zimbira finger thing. And so it's the main sound that you hear here. What you see here is, that's something I do very often. I cut away in the mid-sustain phase and let it re-enter the track and then go to full silence to create some space for other elements. For example, for this track over here, which is kind of the same instrument, but with different editing. And if you combine both, it's this sharper thing in the background, you know what I mean? So like, let's only listen to this one. There's no attack anymore. And here I did it again. Most of the time I take away the attack, except for this specific situation where I wanted both things to hit in because there other elements of the track join. And then the tail joins. And if you, I think I simply go through all the singer tracks, you know what I mean? So if you have any questions while going through them, let me know. But I let this track play. By the way, I also edited it with a few things of the FX rack to add a little bit of detune and such things, like a little bit of echo. So that's what I did. Plus, yeah. Just some random EQing, just like, okay, I want less of this specific 200 low end and added a little bit over here. I kept the super low end, but that's something I cut away later in the groups. So we have this track combined with, for example, this one. Not this one. Example, this one here. It's something that only happens in the background. And there you go. I go for a pitch in the end. I think I did it with this Rolly C board here. And if you listen to both combined, and we can also add the first batch of strings created with Opus Fantasy strings. It's nothing special. It's not on grid, as you can see. It's these instruments. It's the same for choirs, by the way. They pretty much always have to be a little bit off grid because they have a pretty long attack time. But they are never the same, so I didn't quantize them or something like that because I wanted to, I don't know, keep a little bit of the realism. That's something else. More strings. So these are basically only like further string patches that come through to create the first bass rhythm of this track. Let's add this one. Same thing again. Here, that's the first more hybrid element. It's most of the tracks. It was a Gravity 2 demo track, by the way. Most of the tracks were created with Gravity 2. So I just put it in the key of the track, and you can pretty much adapt each sound that you play here. So if you go, for example, for, I don't know, this sound here, you can do the editing for each sound. So that allows you to, I don't know, you don't need to duplicate everything again and again and again, but you can go for this one sound and then, I don't know, adapt each sound for your needs. Or you can split one sound above the whole keyboard to I don't know, play in the tunes that you like. That's what I did a lot later. Let's add another track. So that's a super simple melodic synthesizer with a pitch bend in the end. And there again, as I did so often, I cut away the sounds at a specific part. Because if you listen to the whole track again, at this part of the track, let's start over here. They were able to listen to this raise in the end, and I wanted it to go back again, because I always try to create space for the highlights that I want to, I don't know, do a specific job at a specific part of the track. And without this volume automation over here, it would sound like this. Works, of course, but I didn't need this sound at this place. So it's like, I don't know, if I went through all the track literally and decided, okay, do I need this sound over there? And I didn't need it because, for example, this track over here, as you can see, joins there. And so it kind of, this bend of the synthesizer kind of leads into, yo, nice to meet you, Amadeus and Bill Q Light. This sound kind of leads into this more aggressive FX synthesizer that's, again, Gravity 2. Because the track becomes harder and harder all the time playing. So let's start again from the beginning and check out a few of the other instruments. So as a reminder, I would take this track, this track, this track. Here I did the same thing again. These tracks are the clocks in the background that play all the time, combined with the tick-tock that I recorded with my voice, like this one. Sounds horrible standalone, but sounds are never meant to sound awesome soloed, except when they play solo. So that's something you should keep in mind anyway. So, and here it's the same thing. The clocks do a break, they come back, and they stop right when the other sounds join the track. So that's a few more tracks just to see how the track evolves. We already had these synthesizers. You can start here. I reduce the sound a little bit. We have this. Here I did something else. That's what I do a lot with automations too. If you look at this part, it's this horny thing, kind of, that I created with Gravity 2. And it plays, the sustain gets reduced, and the tail, the release, is something that I let join again, and then I cut it away again. And there, I don't know if you hear it in the Twitch stream. I don't know how good the audio quality is, but it returns over here one more time to add a little bit of further, I don't know, air to this part. Beware, I play the full track, so it might be a little bit louder now, just so you can see what I did there. And here you might wonder what I did there. Let's check out this one. It's a synthesizer again, it's just a sound. And what I did there is nothing planned, it was just like a smack on my keyboard. I do both. So you can imagine when I record a track, like for example this one, that's very, I don't know, standalone sounds, not a lot of stuff happening. This one here. Then I'm not sitting here doing the automations. But for example, when I record a synthesizer, like this one here, like not this burp in the background, but this higher one. Yeah, we listen to that one often enough. Then I also go for the volume automation, and we can check this out real quick. I always do it with this. I can just deattach it right now with this fader thing. So, and what I do is here I have my CZ1 automation in the middle fader thing. On the right one I have CC11, that's very often expression, not the main modulation. And on the left one I have volume automation. So what I can do is I can kinda control everything of it. But what I don't do is like these hard cutaways and returns, because that's obviously very mechanic. And I would only destroy my gear by trying to do so. So we have these strings over here, some brass. Again, not on grid. You see over here, if you look at this and this track, it's everything of this is Opus, created with Opus from East West Sound, but it's not quantized. As already said, it never should be, because especially East-West Sound libraries have a pretty long attack time if you look at the Opus orchestra from them. But that way, it sounds, again, standalone, it doesn't sound like a real orchestra, but that wasn't what I was aiming for. These brass elements and the string elements are only there to support the main rhythm, the main, I don't know, feel of this more synthetic track. So pretty simple, nothing wild happening over here. Can continue, look at this instrument, what I did there. By the way, it would be a little bit smoother. Yo, greetings to Italy. It would be a little bit smoother if I would name my tracks properly, but I knew that I would never reopen this track when I created the demo track. So I was like, yeah, I don't care. Back then I knew every track and I wanted to prepare this, but I had stuff to do. So yeah. It's a bass drop. What can I say? Bass drops always work. It's at this part, I think, in the track when nothing is solo. And there again, by the way, I have this bass drop, the lead melody already. Oh, you don't see the screen. Fuck. Yeah, as I already told you, the last time I was streaming is like a year ago. So please excuse this. So let's return to the bass drop I talked about. It's when the melody that was only driven by the belt so far is supported by these bigger synthesizer. We can do this first, I think. So we have this bell melody and then this synthesizer here at Show Soon joins. and it's yeah, pretty straightforward. It's also created with Gravity 2, low cut, and we can unfreeze it really quick just to check out what I did there. The bass drop is Gravity 2. It's actually, I think I didn't even change something. It's only an impact, and straight out of the box impact by Gravity 2. Because when I write demo tracks, it's important to also showcase some presets. When I work for clients, it's more important to create suited instruments based on the world or the, I don't know, the vision, the story that you are writing for. So, but when you work for an instrument, it's a different kind of story. So in that case, it's totally fine to go for a little bit of that. But yeah, let's take another look at the bass drop, because here's something happening again. The bass drop is kind of happening in the background, but it gets introduced by this sound that gets, again, like snapped away right here. It returns, then it gets, I don't know, full mute kind of, and then I get the release in again, like I did so many times already. Let's start a little bit. And so it's only one sound again from Gravity 2, but it creates far more movement, because if we I don't know, turn off the read mode, it sounds like this. It's a badass sound, absolutely. But I don't know, there's other stuff happening in the track, and I only wanted this lead into the bass drop part where the big synthesizer joins the track to create some low end, to create some crisp transitions to get into this part. So that's why I decided to, yeah, simply cut away what I don't like, what I don't need at this place. And in this case, by the way, because you asked a few minutes earlier, I recorded the full sound. I was like, yeah, that's badass. I edited a few things within the Gravity. I think, I'm not sure what I did here. It's such a long time ago. I think the reverb and the compressor, wow, and the compression. And that's what I did there. And then afterwards, when I went through the tracks, I was like, oh, wait, I need some space here. Yeah. The automation that are visible right now are only the volume automations. There's more stuff going on. So this, what you see here, is always CC1. Then sometimes there's also CC11. And everything else is hidden at the moment, because I wanted to focus on volume automations first. But what I do a lot is this. If you take, I talked about that quite a lot of times. So I have on this mixing thing here again, on the Creative Console, I have open CC channels. And you can simply go by right-click, learn MIDI CC automation, and then you turn this channel, and now I have it over here. And now I can automate that too. So as soon as you right-click, learn MIDI CC automation, you can automate everything. That's what I do a lot. But that's something we can talk about later, because I don't know. What I do a lot, for example, is automating ADSR curves, microphone positions, reverb rooms, saturation, distortion, stuff like that. But that's the next step. And that stuff I never do while recording something. That always happens, I don't know, as soon as I dive further in the track. So let's continue. So this synthesizer joins to the bells are still doing their thing in the background. Here's something that's only doing stuff in the background. If you listen to it soloed, you will hear it. That's super slow, low volume in the end. This isn't supposed to be there. Yeah, Learn MIDI CC is badass. It's like, take a look at Abbey Road 2. I think you can do it here too. You go to the reverb. Does Spitfire still? Some of Spitfire's libraries you are able to do it. The reverb is always mapped to CC7 or so. That's something. I have a patch over here. Here's my preset for Spitfire audio libraries. Maybe you can see on the small thing. I make it big right now. Now it changed colors, and now I have reverb, microphone position, and stuff like that mapped to that, because Spitfire Audio has a sheet with their MIDI CC channels. So that's a different story. But in general, you simply go for right-click, learn MIDI CC, and then there's a list where you can see which channels are open. It are like a few dozens or something. Oh, about the panning, one moment. I talk about that in a minute. Right now I have to finish this part here. So it's this synthesizer with the bells, and what's happening here is they join over here. Again, random volume automation. It's Abbey Road 2 with Spitfire Audio, and they add a little bit of high-end attack to the sound, because it's... Yeah. I'm gonna mute them, and then you can compare. It's like with them, without them. Something is missing. And it's not supposed to do anything else in the whole track. The only job of this, I think, violas is to support this specific part of the track and this one. So that's everything. Let me check if there's other interesting stuff happening. Yeah, of course. That's what I do very often. The Rode OP2 choir, I often cut them away with these awesome... it's just such an awesome tool. If you... Oh, sorry, I have to... All MIDI inputs... It shouldn't be so loud. 1 second. Oh, and I punished them. That's a weird sentence, that I punished the Rode OP choir. But yeah, they are edited with punish, just like oversaturated and hardly edited, just to make this. Doesn't make sense again if you listen to it soloed, but it does. It makes sense as soon as you don't. And so here's something else I did, by the way. The synthesizer doesn't play this note. The choir joins in, plus the bell comes back. So here's again like they swap jobs. See that? It's like, here's nothing playing. So it's like... And that's a cool moment, because the motive is already established, and at that point I take away what the audience expect, kind of. So if we take away the solo, it could be a little bit loud. Then we only have this gnarly fucking lead synthesizer that takes this note, and that's it's weird if I talk that positive about the stuff that I did. Sorry, but I don't know, I like this track. It's this one. It's if you look at this, I took away kind of everything in the high end. It's the we can compare sounds, just like to see what I did there. It's the mosaic lead synthesizer. It's and what I did here is the main thing does Fury, and I added a lot of drive to the sound. But the thing that it gets so broken in the end is the shape. So I added a gate with a specific threshold that just destroys the sound in the end. If you take away the gate, sounds cool, but not what I wanted. So yeah, I love how it breaks. One of my favorite distortion plugins, Fury. So that's what happens here too. This high synthesizer joins and just I don't know, creates a little bit of additional, yeah, just distortion as a preparation for this mid part. Let's add the strings. Yeah, and there's a little bit more stuff going on. So we have further strings. We have this. It's just like, this is just a pad that does something. Just a super slowed down, let me unfreeze it just so I can show you. A super slowed down, here I put it on 0.5 tempo, and it sounds like this. There you go. That's why I freeze this track. It's in this project. I still have the pre-release version of Gravity 2 that I had when I. Yeah, it is healthy, absolutely. But in general, I don't speak to other people when I talk about my music. So I do, of course, but it's not like, I don't know. But yeah, you're totally right. That's part of the thing, you know. So in the end, it's about never sending something out that you don't totally love. Even 15 years ago, when I finished a track, I was like, yeah, that's the best thing I can do right now. I knew that I'm far away from I don't know, where I want to be. But I still was like, yeah, that's it right now. So let's get to the next thing. Yeah, nothing special. It's totally boring. But it does stuff in the background. It's kind of happening all the time, except for the parts, again, where I want to have breaks. Oh, that's an interesting part too. There joins this weird harmonica. It's probably from Albion Neo or Solstice. It's Solstice, yeah. Albion Solstice, Badass Library. It's a preset I created a few, I don't know, month ago. And it joins the track. Try to listen to it with the full track. You can hear it in the background, especially over here. It's only this part. I just wanted to create a weird, misleading feeling. Like, okay, will it get instrumental now? And then comes this boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, boom part. So that's what's happening here. And I tease it, I take it away, then it comes again, and then it's like, oh, what the fuck? Another part is joining. By the way, in the background, we also have this happening all the time. And this is a Gravity to bass drum patch. Plus, we have one of my first libraries that I bought. It's the Liberis Angelic Angels Choir, and it's percussion. A little bit edited, a little bit of distortion, and they do stuff in the background. Here again, by the way, with bass drums, I do this a lot too in the end part. Yeah, and this kind of, I don't know, works pretty good with the clock stuff that is happening in the background all the time, like these tracks over here. So yeah, there's stuff happening. By the way, this is on TikTok. That's interesting. I kind of just mirror my Instagram feed over there, but without the captions. So it's pretty useless. But thank you, dude. Nice to see you here. So yeah, I have 2 clock tracks, and I think this one is another one in different tempos. It's also by Adio. Adio doesn't exist anymore, sadly, because they are now SoundPaint. But yeah, so that's what's happening in this mid part, at least the main stuff. And now it gets a little bit more interesting, if I didn't miss something, because we come to this. Let's turn off solo to this first transition. So we introduced the higher synthesizers, we introduced these Abbey Road strings, the accordion that never appears again, and then the motive is repeated, and we are like, yeah, okay, now we are ready for the main part. But then I switched motives and introduced something new with a new sound that I didn't use before. This firewood piano that I hardly edited. Sorry, that was loud. Again, with Fury, same thing with the shape trick I talked about. Then I have 2 frequency thingies, equalizers. I don't know why I didn't use one. Don't ask me sometimes. And this gets introduced over here, combined with other instruments. Let's check this out real quick. Nice. I like this part. How I started composing this track. As I already said, it was a demo track. So when I write a demo track for an instrument, then I browse through the presets. I save the ones that I like. Maybe I already adapt a few sounds because I'm used to the Heavyocity interface. And then I didn't have a chord progression in mind. I think what I can tell you is I started with, I found these drum sounds. And it says already a bass. And then I had these steps in mind. And I think then I just continued adding a little bit of this and that, a little bit of this and that, and then I came up with this melody. It just appeared randomly. When I work, I'm always sitting here, and of course, a lot of ideas pop up at the same time. And what I always do is I don't write down anything. I don't take notes. I pick the best idea, throw it at the project, overload it. I mean, it's way too much in the beginning. The next day is the thinning out session, where I throw away all the stuff that I don't need. I only add ideas. And I always pick the best one, throw it at the project. When I forget an idea, then I don't care about this idea because then it probably wasn't a good idea. All right, let's return to this part that I talked about. Sorry. We can start here, I guess. There's a small sound. Alright, check this out. We still have our lead instrument without the backup because we don't need it anymore. That's why it's muted over here. That's the stuff, if you remember, where it kind of created an additional sustain layer for the main music box. I had it over here in the beginning too, but it was way too much, so I threw it away. With this. Oh, sorry, the clocks are now on fire. I accidentally solo locked them. That's a cool new feature of Cubase 13, by the way. I'm gonna solo lock this one. Yeah, and you already see, it's nothing special. I simply took away the release, sometimes over here, sometimes after one click, because I wanted to get a little bit of more, it should become a little bit more aggressive, to the point. Then we have the firewood piano. And here you can already see that I automated a lot of things. I automated, I think, the Fury thing and the frequencies. Let me check this, not 100% sure anymore. Yeah, it's super simple. You add the high frequencies, that's stuff that you do all the time. It's a bypass plus the EQ6 changes a little bit, but at a later point. And without all the plugins, by the way, it sounds like this. So yeah, I know. When I bought Fury, I felt like I simply like taking a real instrument and making it become something broken. So that's what's added there. I'm gonna take this one away again, just for the moment, to check out the other stuff. We have the Rhodope choir. Super classic sus4, sus2 thing. We have the Hans Zimmer strings. But only one time. In the beginning, they played all the time, but I wanted to create more impact when this hard part in the end begins. So we didn't need them. Then here's something joins a little bit later. We have this repeating bass that goes away for a while before it returns to create some impact and prepare for the final change. We have our drums plus like it's just bum, 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 bum in the background. That's what's happening here. I'm gonna take away this lead bass drum again, because otherwise when we repeat this part a bunch of times, then it will destroy your and my hats. Check out what this is. This is only this small, but it does something. It's again like a small transition. I think I like it that way even more. But sorry, let's continue. So we have this firewood piano. Oh no, a choir. So it sounds horrible standalone. But that's the whole point. What I did here, at some points, they didn't join. So as you can see here, the volume automation looks a little bit different to here. And over here, it starts on click. It always depends on what's happening in the background. What are the other instruments doing? So it's not always like super simple. You go in, you go out, you go in and you out. You always have to I don't know, keep an eye on what's happening in the background. So the choir just does what a choir does. Yeah. So in addition to that, we have the firewood piano that I talked about. So we have the firewood piano, we have the choir. Here we have this high scream in the end, by the way. This bam bam. And here you can see that in the beginning, I tried to mess around with this. It's this synthesizer from the beginning. I added something here too, but I threw it away again because I didn't like it. Yeah, it's this synthesizer. We already talked about that with the gating thing. We have our toy clock. So here I do that again. I introduce the theme, I wait, I add the choirs. And the whole choir didn't appear before that in the track. So I saved this up for this specific part. But let's take that away for now, because it's so dominant that I want to focus on the features that you may overhear in the full mix instead. So we have this. Nothing special, opus, combined with Hans Zimmer strings. And it sounds crowded again, but because it's not on grid and it has this weird automation, it makes everything sound a little bit more, I don't know, at least in my taste. It's always my taste, right? So I don't talk about general rules. It's about how I like doing stuff. Okay, you understand. This one, I do a counter melody to the established melody to then prepare for the final repetition of the melody, the final drop, kind of. And I just thought about I don't need these notes, actually. That's something I do, by the way, if I don't delete notes. I still want the release of this note. So it's playing. It's always playing when you reduce the volume automation. But what happens here, this tail will still kind of bleed into the beginning of this note. And that's cool because these are staccato low strings and I want that. So we have this low sound here, then we have something over here. And here it's important that it doesn't end over here. I tried that, you can see that because here are my automation points. I tried to take it away over here, I tried to take it away over here. In the beginning I had it over here. But it makes a difference for the whole track. Let us check this out and the full track, like compare it. That's nice, but I like it a bit more if here is a little bit of space already. Because it prepares for this gnarly fucking thing, bass that happens in the low end. Super simple damage 2 high loop. Works perfectly, is also by Heavyocity, so we go for that. 1 second. Oh, actually this track is... Oh, that's interesting. I used this track in the beginning, I think as a guide or something. That's what I do often. I forgot that I didn't use it. It was like... So I had this and then I re-recorded my own drums. That's what happens quite a lot. And I can recommend that. It's super fast for sketching out ideas. So that's nice. So we come to the next part, finally. Because that's pretty much it. Oh, by the way, this gnarly bass sound, that's something I should talk about. I don't know where it is. Probably this one. Yeah. It's this part that we already listened to. right, let's continue adding tracks to this. So by the way, this low brrp sound is Damage 2 again, of course. Gravity 2, sorry. I'll add an automation here just to make it a softer intro when we listen to it. This part is also a good example. So I took away the sound here. If you listen to this soloed, it sounds like this. So what it creates by creating these volume automations, it creates this nice release over here and over there. And just, I don't know, works pretty good together with the other percussion elements. Yeah. So this part is where it begins like da 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 again. It's like right here. Bam, 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 bam. Yeah. So Hans Zimmer strings again, they are good by the way. Not 100% sure. Yeah, they are worth the price, but I wouldn't say it's the first library you should buy when you're looking for a good string library. It's more like, I don't know. Okay, let's add another track. You know that one already. Then we have the firewood piano. Then we have something else. Not sure. Oh yeah. What else do we have? Yeah, the trumpets. We already listened to that for the strings. Not needed. Then we have this. That's this super small sound I talked about, by the way, that just adds a little bit of impact over here, like a transition to the full sound. So, right this way. That's a sound that you hear a lot throughout the track, by the way. I didn't show it yet. It's Pangea by... Oh, fuck. I forgot their name. But it's a good library. I think one of the lead synthesizers also created with Pangea. It's like a big mixed hybrid library. Yeah. Then we have this. You hear it in the background. These are the clocks again. Tick, 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 tick. I didn't use them in this mid part, again, to increase the impact of this final part. For the clocks, the slower ones, they were already playing. There they are cut away again for a reason, because there's something else happening. At this part where this where this happens, that's pretty much only that. And what I did in addition in the final part is I did a volume automation on the stereo out. That's something I do pretty rarely. I often handle this via groups, but in that case it just fit, because in the beginning it's already like this chopping style, but there only for 4 bars, for 4 clicks. Thank you, means a lot to me. By the way, push Pucks, so I hope you're still here. I do bass elements. I mean, there's pretty much always only one element that handles sub 50 hertz frequencies. But I often change the carry bass instrument, but I sometimes add other bass instruments to create a wider field. Maybe in the stereo field, maybe in the field of depth, you know what I mean? Maybe there's a bass sound supporting the main bass in the more far away field of depth. Field of depth, you can manipulate that, for example, by increasing the pre-delay. Then you are closer to a person. If there's a bigger pre-delay, you're closer to a person. The smaller the pre-delay of a reverb, the farther away. In addition to that, EQ handles field of depth too. I once wrote a caption about it, but that was, I think, 1.5 years ago. So what will we have over? Yeah, the final stereo automation. So attention. It may get a little bit loud again at the start. So it only adds a little bit more of chops. In the beginning, I tested to do the full way, like this and like this, but it didn't work because, listen to this, we can start over here. You know what I mean? It's too obvious. And so I don't know, kind of went for the middle way of the things. And yeah, it's not like a super big project. It's pretty small actually, compared to some other demo tracks especially. So of course, when you're working for games and stuff, very often you only have like 4 or 5 tracks, like the instruments connected to a specific character or something. When I want to change the full volume of something, I either create I don't do that. I thought about that. So sometimes when I have to do that, I just go for the fader in the VST. So, but I don't do that really often because my style of using the automations, it's so intuitive. I do it all the time. So when I change volume, I always want to change something in the automation. I always do that. It's like it just happens. But what I in general always do is not on this track, but I very often have instrument groups, not like strings, brass, drums, but based on the job they have. So for example, in this track, I would create a group if I would continue doing this, and it's not only a demo track. I would create a group, for example, for these choppy instruments, all the instruments that follow this volume automation. And especially because this track it is a rough mix and a rough master, just like a rough master for Instagram, basically, because it was a demo track for a collaboration with Heavyocity on Instagram. So you don't need a super, yeah, you know what I mean. So, and then I would create a group track for them, and then over there, I would just like, you can add tracks to. Sorry, by the way, I in general Cubase is in English, but since I had 13, it's in German. I didn't notice that. I would have been way better if it's, I don't know if it's would have been English, but yeah. So, and then I can I can add the full volume of these jobs over there. But to be honest, I would again do it with automations. But you could also, I don't know, maybe add a VCA fader or handle it via groups. And what's also there, you have, I think it's CC something. There is a CC channel for the virtual instrument volume. So I also have that over here. I have the pen and this. I forgot what CC channel it is, but there is a fixed CC channel for every virtual instrument that controls this volume over here, or in let's take a look at complete, or in complete / contact. It's the same thing. This one over here. So that's something you can do too if you want to. Yeah, in the groups, sure. So based on the job, right? So sometimes, so if we have the chopped instruments, so if you have the chopped instruments, for example, that would be a group for me. But I wouldn't add the high thing here, the high music box to this group, even though it's the same job. Then I would make, nice, yeah, the MIDI CC list, that's perfect. That's what I was talking about. So there you also see the free channels when you are like, yeah, and I want to do this right-click, add MIDI CC. Always mixer panner. I have, it's also a CC channel, and I use that one. And also I like to, I don't know, work in the mixer. It's pretty cool in the new Cubase, by the way, that if you click on the built-in EQ, it pops up. You take the mouse away again, no click, it's gone again. It's dark, you change something, nice. When you select multiple tracks, like let's say these 4, you press Alt and Shift. So that's Q-Link, that's called Cubase in Cubase. You go in the EQ, you change something, go out, everything's changed. Awesome for low pass filters or something like that. Just like I'm pretty happy with Cubase 13. Yeah, there's the question. I'm used to it. Honestly, I talked about that a few days ago, I think, in a story or something like that. It doesn't matter. Pro Tools sucks if you want to work with MIDI. That's the only important info. Besides that, you can use Logic, you can use FL, you can use Ableton, you can use everything. I mean, it really doesn't matter. it's like it's the same useless war like between Apple and Windows. Back then, Mac was superior by far more stable. But today, it doesn't matter. I'm super happy with my thing here. I bought the new one, I think 6 months ago. I never had problems. Yeah, I updated. I didn't update immediately, but then I couldn't resist. When you update your DAW, it's almost like moving into a new home. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Let's. I just play the track one more time. Maybe I think I missed a few of the elements, but as I already said, it's not that much magic. It's mainly carried by the volume automation and ear candy stuff, like these strings that only happen over here. And this accordion that I showed you a few minutes earlier, or combined with this. So this track is a really good example for what I was trying to show. We have the drums, we have these lead things here, like this. Yeah, I just open up every track. We can go through the track like this. There you go. It's not that much stuff happening. And when you have any question for a specific part, let me know. Yeah, the routing is cool. Oh, by the way, that's awesome about the new version. Since we're talking about this, you can now collect in the MIDI editor, maybe other DAWs did that already, which tracks you want to see and which ones you don't want to see. You can highlight the track by just clicking here. Then you get the part where it's playing, it's highlighted. And that's something, that's like a quality of life feature where I'm like, saves so much time. Now my keyboard is broken. But yeah, who cares? All right, let's take a look. Now something is soloed. Sorry. Stuff missing, isn't it? I'm so confused. Ah, there you go. Yeah, I know why it sounds different, because I messed around with stuff where I showcase things. Now I'm confused, because when you're used to track, you hear all the differences. That's why I recreate so many soundtracks, by the way, because I think I did at least 100 of my favorite tracks where I reconstructed every single instrument, and then I also learned why they use it. I talked about that too many times, and that way, when I now listen to a new track, for example, I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3 at the moment, and while playing it, I don't want to do that. I want to enjoy the game, but I can't do differently. That's like the bad side of the coin. But I kind of already reconstructed the track in my head. And now I could sit down and record all the instruments that are part of the track or the music. And that's a very usable skill, especially if you want to, in such a thinning out session. Yeah. I get, no worries. I got that. Just let me finish the sentence. When I get to the thinning out sessions, I'm really like super hardcore. Do I need this instrument? Because I know that especially on Instagram, TikTok, there are a lot of these super big, epic tracks because it works kind of good. The other reason why there are not so many reduced tracks is because often you're not allowed to show stuff yet. You know what I mean? So it's easier to create a few super fun tracks, because this style, that's so fun about demo tracks. It's just 100% fun. It's just fun. So, and that's a great thing, obviously. If you have fun doing stuff, I can do whatever I want when I do that. The panning, let me check this on my weird screen. By the way, so many people asking, it's not touch. I don't need touch. Why should I move my hands from here, where I sit in a perfect ergonomic position, to over here, where I touch some faders? This is already quite a big move. I only use it, to be honest, to adapt automations in the end by hand, because you can grab and immediately adapt the automations. If you, for example, connect it to a bunch of tracks. Let's say these. Let's put them to the top. Then it's super awesome to, it's already set to fine tune a bunch of these automation, because then it works pretty good. By the way, these are the, wanted to work now, the plugins that I use. The dynamics, distortion, but to be honest, distortion, I mainly use Fury and Punish. But yeah, let me get back to this question before I forget it again. Oh yeah, I got you. It's based on the job. I don't care about the real orchestra. So sometimes I do, because what we know is there are established things. So people know how an orchestra has to sound because they are used to it. So if you have full orchestral music, you maybe should adapt to this, because otherwise, subconsciously, you will confuse the audience. And that's something you don't want to do, because you want to focus on manipulating the subconscious mind of the audience based on other rules of this universal language, because everybody understands music. You don't need to know why it works. All these techniques work all the time. And you want to manipulate the subconscious mind, so you don't want to start with irritation. You know what I mean? So when you have full orchestral music, it often makes sense to adapt to that what's already established, except for you have a reason. If I use, let's say, 40 shallows, Hans Zimmer does stuff like that pretty often. If I use that amount of instruments and I pan them hard left instead of the go-to right direction, then it has to be a reason why you want to create a specific feeling in this situation. No matter if you write for video games, films, or songs, you know what I mean? So I work a lot with artists too. There's always a vision or a narrative that you can adapt your ideas to, that you can adapt your tools to, like the possibility that you can manipulate the subconscious mind with this only medium that really gets into the room. If you imagine somebody sitting in front of a TV, even with VR glasses, everything is on screen. Audio comes into the room and does stuff in your mind, because the human brain is weird as fuck. I wrote my honors degree about that. So if you want to read something about that, you're welcome to write me a message or send it out. And so panning always depends on what I have in mind and what I don't know what yeah, it always depends. It's so hard to say. So I don't like these videos, and so there are basic rules, of course. When I started working with DAWs and stuff like that, I had no idea what the fuck. Let me get this thing here up again. I had no idea what I was looking at when I was looking at something like this. Here is stuff moving. Why? Because it's manipulated by an LFO. Then I was like, what the fuck is an LFO? I have no idea what that is. And so I don't know. I was getting there step by step. Just like I wanted to learn everything about every single knob. Here you go again. Like it's a low cut. How are you supposed to do that? And if you only preset jump, that's what a lot of younger producers sadly do, because you can't blame them, because it's the availability. You have output OK and stuff like that. You have all these tools. And so it's hard to resist to not only take the loop of your choice and go with that, but then you will never learn how to do stuff. The brass left, Hans Zimmer strings to the right. Staggered the panning. I'm not sure if maybe it's a word thing. So phasing shouldn't be a problem. In worst case, I think simply invert phases. Plus, you have to keep in mind that both, where are they? I think these and these, right? I'm not sure, to be honest. Oh, they are pretty. They are pretty mid. Let me check this. Here's something. I should really begin to name my tracks. I mean, come on, 17 years. I'm earning my money with this. Ah, okay. This can't be. Where are they? We have this and this and this. No, not this. Ah, there you go. Yeah. Do you hear this on the right or on the left? This. The brass is on the left. Oh, yeah, I remember this. I remember this problem from early this year when I did the second stream of the year. Somebody told me that I had the same thing. So everything you listened to was the wrong way around. I'm not sure why, to be honest. I have no idea. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. It's everything was mirrored. But if it sounded good, maybe I should do the same thing. So because that's actually one of the examples where I put the brass to the right side and the strings to the left side, because it's so unnatural anyway that I decided to support that a little bit. And these tracks I always divide between lead tracks and support tracks, and these tracks are only support tracks. They are only there to support the impact of other instruments. So if you listen to them soloed, so these brass thingies, I killed the lower frequencies within the plugin, and so it's having there. It's Forzo, also a pretty cool library. And so, but if you unsolo them, they are only there for the impact, for a little bit of support. We have like this burp in the background that carries the sustain. So I'm always trying to have a dance between attack and sustain. When there is an instrument with an attack, then there has to be a reason. And when there is sustain, do I need the sustain? So what I like is to, like here, or what I do a lot in this track, to tease something with an attack and then to fulfill this teaser with a different instrument. So, for example, here, it's like the music box is a pretty good example. It happens all the time. Somebody teases, here it goes away again, and another instrument takes the... For example, here, I take away all the lead instruments, and this instrument becomes a little bit louder. And you hear that. plus the simmer thing. But yeah, it's irritating to know that it's like fucking mirrored in on the other side. But yeah, I don't know why, to be honest. I don't get it. I set this up via this, you probably know it, this voice meter thing, because otherwise I somehow wasn't able to tell OBS that my microphone should be mono. Can I mirror it? Huh. Who cares? It doesn't matter. It wasn't about sound anyway. If you go for a Twitch thing, it was only about, I don't know, just a sneak peek into how these things look. All these sessions, kind of. I don't know. I can do that with other projects too. Not that often, because yeah, it's. Yo, thank you. Took me quite a lot of time to to put this together. Yeah, it's already said. I played one more time. If there are any questions to specific parts, go for it. Otherwise, I return to Baldur's Gate. I mean, it's vacation time. I worked the whole year. I only took, I think, 5 days off this year. But it was a fun year, honestly. It was badass. By the way, if you have general questions, go for it. It's totally fine too right now. I know there are only like 3 people or so anyway, so I don't know. Who cares? We can do that. Keep in mind that I won't be here in the next 6 months or so. By the way, you can see them work. I didn't use Sans in this track. When I write demo tracks, I only use built-in stuff. I used so just to show, because I don't know, when you create a demo track for an instrument, this one was for Gravity 2, then you don't want the composer. Very often they are dressed up. Here I added a little bit of Fury. That's a plugin that's from Heavyocity at least, but I described where I used it in the description of the demo track. And mosaic leads, but that's obvious. But if you listen to a track and you think about, yeah, should I buy this instrument? Then you don't want to have third-party reverbs carrying the sound. So, at least for me, that's why I am always a little bit skeptical when I listen to demo tracks. Because sometimes they are, I don't know. How do I delete comments? I have no idea. It's only something like pinning, but yeah. Most common chain. Oh, let's start from the top. The Tomb Raider thing actually stood at the studios where the game was made. When I was like... nice. Thank you. I feel so old. Did it. So when I was, I think... So when the game came out, the remake of the Tomb Raider, I was in a German electronics store. Jon, hi, nice to meet you. And I saw the stadium. I was like, what the fuck? With my first bigger money from game music, I'm gonna buy that. And even when I was a kid, I saw this old Tomb Raider statue. I'm so old there was already like the first Tomb Raider was coming out when I was, I don't know, too young to play it. I was afraid as fuck from the game, but I was like, what the fuck, someday maybe, because I played video games my whole life. So and then, way too long story right now. And then when I had my first bigger game music job, it took quite a lot of time that everything I buy for this studio, I pay only with money, always. I did it always. I only paid with money that I earned with music. It was that easy. So, but that was, I don't know, a bonus for me. And it stood at the studios where the game was made. I luckily worked for the guy who creates these statues. These are always Muckel mannequins. All the statues you see are from a guy here in Germany, because they have the tools or whatever and the rights, I don't know. And they don't sell them that often to regular people. But he was like, yeah, this came back and blah, blah, blah. And then we talked a little bit because I was working for him anyway. And then I was able to buy it from him. And that's pretty badass. Yeah, this monitor. I don't know. It's actually, one sec. Like, let me double check one thing. I was just curious about. I think actually this is an old version of the track. Doesn't matter. It's not that much of a change, but. Yeah, who cares? The monitor is it's awesome for me. Way too expensive, especially in the beginning when I bought it. But it's perfect. I don't know. Before that, I had one of these ultra wides that you probably know that are like that high. So it's the same thing. It's the same length, but it's twice as high. So you have the regular 16:9 resolution, because these ultra wide monitors, they don't make sense for our job. I think I had the monitor above this one. I had it above the more flat ultra wide, but I don't know. I was like, what? I don't get it. So I would never buy one of these regular ultra wides again. I think, at least not for my taste, because I want to move stuff around all the time. I want to have a bunch of VSTs opened up. Most of the time I have the main project here, and here on the right is a big bulb of projects. But yeah. Thank you. Hey, dude, I still feel like a child. Luckily, after 17 years of making music, I still feel like a child too. I mean, look at this room. It's like it's a giant child's room anyway. But yeah, most of this stuff is pretty useless. And the reason why I have most of these things, for example, these, I can adapt my automations a little bit better. That's it. Is it worth the 600 euros that it costs? Absolutely not. But it's a little bit more fun. Same for the machine, by the way. I did a few things here. I have only one pattern, I guess, and 2 scenes. But it's so much fun if you're fast with the machine and you know how to add your patterns, select the events, then you go into the regular pad mode, add a sound, then you go into the step sequencer. And when you know what you do, it's so, I don't know, it's so natural. And most of the time I grab it, put it on my knees, turn away from the screen and just do a little bit of music. Same for the Novation thing. It's not even turn up right now, but if I work with this one here with the Summit, I turn away and do like, I don't know, a little bit of sound design. You can't hear it right now. I can hear it in my phones because of the setup. But you don't need it. But the more fun you have, yeah, exactly. The more fun you have, the more awesome music you can do. But that's absolutely not necessary. I had a job in Slovenia this year. I was meeting with other people. It was something for, I think I'm not allowed to say that, but it doesn't matter. We were there in a weird penthouse, weird people for 1 week making music. So I was paid for that. And there I had a laptop. a laptop, a second screen. I think I took either the smaller complete. I'm so sorry, I didn't know it was also in the media channel. Or I took these smaller ones here. What's this instrument? It's not even, but this one is connected. Weird. But yeah, so I could do the same thing. I was a little bit slower, and it was fine. I took a funny lamp with me, because even with super successful music producers, if they book you for your skills, you can do whatever you want, because they only want your skills. So I sat there with my, with my little toy light, and I had fun. But that's what I always did, just to make sure that the room has as much comfort for me as possible. Yesterday, I think I shared a picture of my studio in 2012. It was literally a 3 meter room with a super small laptop, and I was working from my bed, the classic bedroom producer thing. Oh, by the way, it's not only about fun, that's also important, it's product presentation, right? So maybe some people, especially since I'm mainly doing game stuff, there was a thing too. And when you try to, sadly, it's not enough to simply upload music over here and over there if you want to attract clients. That's why I began with Instagram and so on. I'm not the type of guy. I mean, I'm sitting in my room like 95% of the time. I have 0 clients in Germany. This year I began working with a German game developer team. But in general, I don't work with people from Germany, because I tried to go out in my early 20s, 10 years ago, go to Gamescom, talk to people, but I wasn't able to do that. If you're able to do that, awesome. Go to game jams and stuff like that. But I'm way too introverted. And so I didn't want to do Instagram. I don't know, I was already like older. But it was super valuable for me, obviously, because I met awesome people there, awesome musicians. I got awesome jobs, but still, so 7 years after I quit school, after I tried to become a full-time composer, 7 years after that, I was able to make the switch to full-time. That was before I started my Instagram account. That's important, I guess. So the main thing was forums, game communities, film communities, and stuff like that, where all these no-budget projects, these dozens of no-budget projects that I did throughout the years, meet people, get better. Yeah, but that's nice, and it's so much fun, honestly. So I remember when I bought my first plugin. I think it was, let's open up Complete. I can show you. It was, oh, that's weird. 1 second. Oh wait, you have to see the screen again. I think it was let's check in Complete. Yeah. Dude, I ordered 20 kilograms of filling soft thing. I don't know the English word, and I had to, it was weird. It was a weird thing, but you can sleep on it if you want to. I don't know. The first instrument I bought, I would think it was in 2014 or 13, was Damage 1. Oh, I don't have it installed anymore. It was Damage 1 by Heavyocity. That was, yeah, exactly. Like this fluffy thing that's also in some pillows and stuff. Yeah, Damage 1 was so awesome. Then, yeah, there it is under Native Instruments. That was one of the first ones. I also remember Rise and Hit was something I bought pretty early too, because back then I listened to Two Steps from Hell, and I wanted to make epic music, as every young 20 years old composer. At least, I don't know, that was almost 12 years ago. What the fuck? But yeah, so that was a good time. And the first DAW was Audacity. It was, just like 17 years ago. Oh, I didn't try that one yet, by the way. It's like a 100 gigabyte piano library. By the way, something Abbey Road 2 is awesome. Albion Colossus is cool. Albion Solstice and Albion Neo, pretty much my most used libraries from them this year. Yeah, epic music is always nice. But I did so much trailer things and so on. So this classic thing that people want to have right now, I don't, and that's a totally luxuous situation. I don't accept any job anymore, especially if I don't like the person. That's something I talked about anyway. That's the best thing in the world, so that you don't have to take every single job. That you can say, nah, I don't feel good about this project. I don't feel, you don't tell this person exactly this, but you feel like, I don't feel this person's vision. I don't want to work with him or her for such a long time. This one is awesome too, the Olafur ones. The new vocal thing by them is also pretty good. But yeah, so that's the best thing, because I had so many situations where I worked with people for a lot of weeks, and every morning I went into, not this studio, but one of my earlier ones. It was like, yeah, soundtracks, especially for games, are so amazing, because games is so interesting. Game music is so interesting because you have the interactive, adaptive part. So the music reacts to the player. And that way you can make so much more. It gets, the easy solution is if you get into branching or layering, if you, I don't know, have multiple versions of a track, like 4 tracks. Let's say you only have one track is only 5 tracks of a track, and then you add a little bit more, and you export 6 different versions, but they are all the same. That's called parallel composing. So you don't need transitions, and the soundtrack could fade anytime. And depending on flags and stuff like that, in a way, on specific situations, flags, triggers, or something like that, you can create changes. And yeah, absolutely. For example, Celeste is a badass example. I think I have the soundtrack over there. The way how the music reacts to your moves, not like all the time, because it's a hard game, and the music also has to be a motivator. That's one of the, I think, 13 jobs of music for visual media in general. That it's a motivator. You have, sometimes it's a narrator, sometimes it's couleur locale, sometimes it's only like mood stuff, sometimes it's a guide. So there can be a lot of things, and in general you work with 2 or 3 melodic or instrumental light motives that are connected to specific things like persons, locations, situations, or ideas when you get more abstract. But let's stay with the simple thing from Celeste. You have one main motive that's connected to the main character that wants to climb this mountain, and during this climb, that's very hard. So the music can't be too much in your face, because you will play the same room again and again. It still changes. The mind of the main character kind of twists and gets a little bit damaged and broken, and you don't know what's reality anymore. And the theme, melodic-wise, it's a melodic leitmotif plus an instrumental leitmotif. So specific instruments only happen when something important happens with this character, when something important happens. When you hear these instruments, your conscious mind is like, after 2 situations, whoa, I know this instrument, something's going to happen. And then the melody adapts a little bit throughout the time. The more crazy this character gets, only tiny changes, and the instruments become more distorted throughout the game through. Everything is a bit more broken, and it happens very slowly. And the composer, it's a girl, I think it was her first soundtrack, she makes it very clever that she establishes something, she gives enough time and rare enough situations, so you can't, let me finish this sentence, that the player can learn, can get used to it. It can be connected with the subconscious mind. So when this instrument is played, it has something to do with this character. That's the first thing you want to do. Oh, this melody, something story-driven happens, stuff like that. Easy example. Or when these instruments play, it's night. That way you can, it's a enhancer kind of. So you enhance the feeling of the visuals change to a darker mood by using the connected instrumentation. I lost track of what I was going to say initially. Anyway, it's a badass example. So there's a good video on YouTube, I think, from 8-Bit Theory or something about Celeste. Awesome soundtrack to reconstruct and analyze is also Octopus Traveler, the Nier series. You can learn so much. And you ask about Fmod. Yeah, I worked with both. Fmod, Wise, it doesn't really matter, to be honest, but sometimes, pretty often actually. I think right now I have a project in that too. You also work directly in the Unreal Engine. I enjoy working with indie teams a lot. And sometimes, especially if it's only simple branching or layering, it's not necessary that you explain them how Fmod works. So then I just work directly in the blueprints of the Unreal Engine. So today it's a pretty okayish tool for very easy and simple branching or layering with not too many unique situations when you, for example, have a specific intro that only plays if X or Y happened before. So that's something that becomes harder in that case. But in general, Unreal Engine works totally fine. Fmods, these are soft skills that are totally necessary, because in super big productions, I never had one of these where I had somebody for that, but there is somebody there who only does the implementation in the game, right? So today, when I have bigger scale project, I outsource the mix and the master, because there are people who only did mix and masters for their whole life. And so that's what, the more time you have for focusing on your main craft, the better. But the more soft skills you have, like, can you work in the Unreal Engine? Can you use Fmod? Can you use Wise? Can you do the master? Can you do the mix? Do you also do sound design? Soft skills, you shouldn't put too much effort into these soft skills, because there is your main thing that you want to become better. Plus, it's hopefully the most fun thing you can imagine every way. If not, go for something else. If you thought about making this become your job, it's exhausting. But yeah, so outsourcing stuff is super valuable anyway. I create a quick tea. It's almost 2 hours already. So if there's anything else you want me to talk about right now, or any other questions, let me know. Otherwise, I think I go to bed soon. I'm on vacation. Dude, I have to force myself so much to not work. Today I was almost working again. It's really like, since 10 years, 12 years, I'm doing this self-employed shit. And it's especially the first 7 years where I had to do all these multiple part-time jobs, plus university, plus during the nights, the no-budget productions. It was really... 1 second. I'll listen to one part one more time. Don't be confused, please. I'm confused. Yeah, so I'll be back in 5 minutes, and you can also go if you want to. No need to stay here. If there's nothing left in the chat in the 5 minutes, then I go play Baldur's Gate or to sleep. So I was happy that a few people, wanted to join how I try to explain what I did with my... Because in the end, that's the most important thing. I can show what I do and I can explain my thoughts, but it's pretty hard to do so. Because most of the time, most of the things that happened here that I didn't explain, first thing, we don't have that time. Second thing, I had to prepare that and I didn't want to do that in my vacation. Third thing, it's intuitive, as I already said. So I did that because I'm used to do so. Because I learned how to do that. I've been doing this since 17 years. So that's a lot of stuff. So it's not always about, okay, you have to learn this and that, and then you will be 10% better. Most of the time, it's only about having fun, making some music, and it's an automatic process in the end. If you work with people, if you analyze some soundtracks and try and really want to learn how they did what they did, or maybe not game soundtrack, maybe that's not your thing, who cares? Maybe you want to analyze how other producers supported an artist in the best way. That's something you have to keep in mind. I'll be back in 4 minutes if there's nothing left. If you will already go, have a great New Year's Eve, and yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty active on Instagram. Thank you for all the kind words. And as already said, have a great evening.